Hello, I would like to discuss a couple techniques that I use to ensure that quarterbacks achieve their proper amount of rushing attempts and also have the opportunity to reach the total amount of times that they were actually sacked. And it's really a two-step process. And if you have I like to call a statue type quarterback, a non-mobile type quarterback, you really only need to do the first step. But the two steps I'm going to talk about are dropbacks and then this innovation that was created by my dear friend Mark Zarb, quarterback rush deficit. And the first thing we're going to talk about, though, is how to determine a dropback. Dropbacks are real simple. I don't know if you could see it all right here. Is determine dropbacks is the total pass attempts plus rush attempts plus sacks, and then go ahead and divide that total by the games played. So let's take the 1972 Joe Namath and 1972 Bobby Douglas. You couldn't have two polar opposites. You had Namath being the classic drop back passer, statue type, and Bobby Douglas was by far the top scrambler at that point in time in the game. And I remember he almost had 1,000 yards rushing in that 72 campaign. Okay, for Namath, he had 324 passing attempts. He had a total of 6 rushing attempts, and he had 11 sacks for a total of 341. He played in 13 games, so you divide it by 13, and it comes up to 26. So I'd make sure that I called 26 pass plays, or he dropped back 26 times, and if he did that per game, I would be ensured that he'd reach the 6 scrambles, and he'd get the 11 sacks. All right, Bobby Douglas, a different animal here. All right, 198 pass attempts, 141 rush attempts. He was sacked 32 times for a total of 371. He played the all 14 games, so that comes up to 26 and a half. Let's round it up to 27. He'd have 27 dropbacks per game. Okay, for a quarterback like Namath or like the non-mobile statue type quarterback, the dropbacks will be fine to get him what he needs. But for Bobby, there's no way that he would be able to reach 141 rushing attempts just with the dropbacks. So you have to do an additional step. So that's when the QB rush deficit rating comes in. First thing you're going to do is you're going to take the quarterback's card and you're going to look at the R column and you're going to count the number of play results 24 through 30 that the quarterback's card has listed on the R column. Okay. Then you're going to go ahead and once you have that total, you're going to divide the total number of play results 24 through 30 by 36. All right, on Bobby's card, he had a total of 10 numbers of between 24 and 30 on his card for 72 season. Then you're going to multiply that by the total rushing attempts, and then you're going to divide that sum by the total games played. So let's just say you said, all right, hey, listen, I want to play 2 teams from the 72 season. You reach in the box, you happen to pull out the Bears, and you say, well, I want to figure out how to get Bobby his attempts. Well, what you would do is just a simple formula down here. You would take the 10, divide it by 36, times it by 141, divide it by 14, and that equals 2.7. Let's round that up. He would require you to call 3 additional run plays for Bobby Douglas. Okay, you call, and he has the type of card, it's a dual purpose type 15, 16, 17. So you call him inside 3 times if you wanted, or you could call him inside twice and you do a bootleg once and you got your 3 additional carries. And it really comes in handy. All right, I created years ago, and part of my prep for all my replays is I determine what the QB rush deficit number is for the quarterbacks. So I create a little Excel spreadsheet that I'll have posted on my site for you to use. But I have a picture of it right here, and all you got to do is type in two cells, and you could total number of plays 24 through 30, and the rushing attempts. Hit enter, and since I use locators for every team, I develop locators for each and every team that I play with. If the number is greater than 10, you can see Bobby's here is 41. He needs 41 additional called runs to reach his total. I would type that number into my locators, and they would take care of it. If it was less than 10, I know that the scramble numbers on the card will get him the carries that he needs.